Hello all, this is Aravind. Joining you with this series, share your story with Aravind. Everyone has a story to tell. Many of you might have the question why I am doing this series specifically, because I feel that in every profession, every other profession has updated to till date, but doctor profession, I feel that still they are lacking in many aspects. They are confining themselves to very limited space. They don't see many things beyond whatever they are doing. They think that they should learn, they should read every day, they should practice as a doctor. They're not concentrating much on what are the other skills that is to be developed. So they're investing a lot of time in their education, but still they lag in many skills which other people don't develop. So to improve them, I'm also planning to write a book about how a doctor should be. So all these interviews are also going to be featured in those books. So today we have Dr. Hindu Arneja ma'am joining us here to tell about her in few words. She is a practicing psychologist and a life coach. She is the founder, director of Indian Institute of Healthcare Communication. She is a core group member of Advisory Board on Health and Mental Health for National Human Rights Commission. And also she is a visiting faculty to some of the very prestigious organizations like IIM Ahmedabad, Delhi Judicial Academy, Maulana Azad Medical College, Delhi University, IGNO, and also PHFI. She has over 30 years of experience in the field of psychology and training. She has multiple YouTube ongoing programs under the titles Heart to Heart Talk with Dr. Indu Arneja and Master Stroke with Dr. Indu Arneja. The links of this YouTube channel will also be given in the comments. You can go and watch her. And also she is a regular invitee in national and international conferences. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for joining us. We welcome you to the program.
Thank you, Arvind, to have invited me here. Thank you.
We will start with your early life and your education.
Part of my education I've done in Delhi. Then I went to Bangalore for a couple of years and came back to Delhi. And then I did my MA, MPhil, and PhD in psychology from Delhi University. And since I've been working in healthcare for a lot of time, so I, ultimately decided to do my MBA in hospital administration, and simultaneously I did couple of assessors program for national human rights, national NHSRC, National Health Resource System. So NCOAS is the accreditation system for the government hospital. So I'm one of the assessors for them, and I'm assessor for integrated rehabilitation centers for addicts, IRCA, NABH assessor for that. So this is a little bit about my education and my professional background.
Okay, ma'am. Why did you got interest into psychology? How did you get that interest?
I think psychology as a subject really is very interesting. So it helps you first of all understand yourself, then it helps you understand others also. And I right from the beginning I had a lot of interest in this subject. So I got I persuaded this as my career. And also I feel mental health is one area where you can really help people in a great way, because emotional and psychological aspect of health is not being looked after very well in general, even in terms of our medical services or the health services. So this is how I got interested into psychology.
Okay, ma'am. Although there are various branches in psychology, is there any specific reason why you got specifically into healthcare communications?
Catherine, as I told you, I have been interested into psychology and to have worked in healthcare and the hospital setup. So I got interested into working, in healthcare. And then incidentally, I happened to undergo a program on communication in healthcare. Though I have been into training for almost 35 years, but around 10 years ago, I happened to, attend a program on communication in healthcare. So it was altogether a very new subject for me. And I'm sure for many of you who are watching this interview, for you also, it must be an absolutely unheard kind of a, area. But the moment I saw the need and also what was being taught in that program, I became very interested. And for the last 10 years, I'm completely immersed into healthcare communication.
Okay, ma'am. Is there any specific events or incidents to mention? Like how the healthcare communication can just drastically change the life of the patient also and also the doctor's life?
I think the immediate realization, I not only immediate, but I think it's a long-term realization that we all have, that somewhere patients' communication and information needs are not being
Addressed.
fulfilled as per their requirement, because we are not used to that kind of communication with the patient. If I talk of say 20 to 30 years ago, patients never asked anything. They never want to know what you are doing, why you are doing, what are the options available, why should I go for surgery, why not something else, because they would just come with the complete trust that whatever the doctor will decide for me will be in my best interest. But you may have seen in the last couple of decades, patients are now aware, they're educated, they're paying for service, and also they are aware that there are multiple options available. And quite possible, even if you know the best option, it may not suit your patient. For example, you say surgery and the patient cannot afford, then where do patient go? Or for example, you say admission and the patient says, I don't have anybody to help me with my admission or stay with me in the hospital, so where will the patient go? So I mean, these are the things that have been there. Communication and information need of the patient have been there, but incidentally we haven't addressed it all this while. And if you also look at the aggressive reactions and violence in healthcare, I think it's a clear indication that we are not able to meet patients' communication expectations to their satisfaction.
Yes, ma'am. Like even in our hospitals also, we expect women attendants to stay with the patients. Even if there is only men attendants, we don't allow them to stay in the night. So such problems are there. So everything has to be addressed in the right way. So ma'am, so what are the things you are doing currently right now?
See, as I said, for the last 10 years, I have been completely into healthcare communication training programs. I have traveled across the country and have done more than 1,500 programs for various hospitals, corporate hospitals, government hospitals, medical colleges. Right now also, I'm working with Maulana Azhar Medical College for the last 4 or 5 years. And every year I conduct more than, I think, 20 programs for their undergraduate students and postgraduate students. So where I basically majorly focus on their communication with the patient. For example, for interns, I am doing how to conduct patient interview and how do you share information with the patient. So it's a full day program, 9 to 5. Although one day is not enough to cover all aspects of communication, but I believe it's always good to do something than not doing anything at all. So I really congratulate MEMC, Maulana Azhar Medical College, to have taken this initiative. And it's being done for the last 5 years or so. I've done around more than 80, 90 programs I've done for them. So that's one thing that I am doing. Then I'm also doing train the trainer program. For example, those who are interested to become healthcare trainers. Ultimately, we want more and more people to, come forward and learn how to, do the training. So I'm doing train the trainer programs also. And those who are interested, like we take them up for training them. And actually, ultimately, I think every hospital, every medical college need to have their own department of and a set of trainers who would do this training of their doctors, nurses, paramedical staff, everybody and anybody who is involved in patient care. So
Okay,
I
so
am into it, and this is what motivated me to establish Indian Institute of Healthcare Communication, believing that this will be the banner under which we all will work together.
okay, ma'am. So far, what are your achievements?
I would say achievement, in terms of achievement, first thing is helping people believe and accept and recognize that healthcare communication is something that's very important. I would call this as an achievement. I've done more than 500 training programs for almost 35 hospitals of Delhi government, where I was completely invited by Delhi government to do the program in all these hospitals. So getting that kind of an assignment, it's a very big achievement. And then, of course, I was invited by Cleveland Clinic, Ohio. So they had their annual summit on patient experience and innovation in 2019, that is last year. So they saw my work on LinkedIn and they picked my profile from LinkedIn, and so one of their senior representative contacted me on behalf of their team, and they invited me to attend the program and see how things are at a different level in other countries. Then last year I was also invited by Academy of, I was awarded a scholarship to attend a program by Academy of Communication in Healthcare. It's an American body. Actually, it's an American and European body. So they are primarily working in healthcare communication training. So I was invited to attend, I was awarded a scholarship to attend their program. So last year I visited Pittsburgh to attend their program, and I've done a program with them. So quite regularly I'm invited now by national and international bodies, just because of the kind of work I'm doing, and it's something very new, very niche area.
Okay, sure, ma'am. So what are your future plans?
If you ask me what I desire, maybe I would say I want people to really come forward and take the training wholeheartedly. I would really want more and more people to come forward and become trainer also, because we need a lot of trainers in healthcare. The biggest, I think, the hurdle is people think healthcare communication training is something like training people in soft skill. That's not true. Soft skill is just about good behavior and courtesies and social behavior. Healthcare communication is clinical communication. You're handling patients' information. So any wrong communication done while handling that information can be very fatal. It can lead to medical errors in patient care. It can lead to complications. It can lead to even death when this information is not. So I think that myth has to go, that it's like soft skill training. No, clinical communication is not about um, soft skill training. It's purely patient's information. For example, breaking bad news, or handling aggressive patient party, or information sharing, sending a referral call, handing over the patient. So there are typical healthcare communication, uh, programs that we need. So in terms of my future programs, I would really like to, do more programs for medical colleges and as well as for hospitals. I would like to really now come up with online programs, because that's in need of the hour. And I intend developing online programs which I'm going to keep very, very reasonable, because many a times people are not ready to enroll for a program because of the cost factor. So I just want to make it very, very reasonable so that anybody and everybody can attend the program. And very soon I will be coming up with the online program. So that's one of my plans. And of course, uh, I intend to write a book also on communication, because that's the need of the hour, and we don't have any good book written in Indian context. We have a lot of books in the international arena, but then we haven't very good books in Indian context. So these are my future plans. Yeah.
Okay, sure, ma'am. All the best for your future plans. And do you think is it essential to learn about the healthcare communications while studying itself, while during college days itself? Actually, they can learn it easily when they practice it, right? Or do you think during the course itself it should be integrated?
Arvind, actually, studies suggest that patients view your communication skills more than your clinical skills. I mean, even how much ever knowledgeable you are, if you're not able to, you know, develop rapport with your patient, if you're not able to satisfy your patient, the patient will not be happy. And 85% of your success depends on your communication skills. This is one of the studies by Harvard that says that communication skills are so important. Earlier, patient didn't need it, so we were not communicating. But at the same time, let me remind you, according to a study by JCI, medical errors are third commonest cause of death among patients. And the primary reason for medical errors is communication failure. And that also internal communication failure. That means the communication that we do within our team or with our colleagues. So that's the importance of communication. And as you said, people can learn it in the time they practice or when they ultimately start working. See, there was a time you could make mistakes and learn communication, but I don't think you can afford to do it now because you can see the consequences, the video clippings that we get to hear when patients or their families start hitting the healthcare professionals, doctors, nurses, and paramedical staff. And unfortunately, let me be very honest, it's majorly the doctors who get the beating. If you have seen a couple of videos, it's not the other healthcare professionals. It's majorly the doctor because their expectations of communication are from the doctor. So it's time that we learn it very seriously. And why should we expose ourselves to this kind of a situation where patients or somebody comes and hits me for this? And in most of the studies where we try to understand the cause of violence or aggressive reaction, in 70-75% of the cases, the cause is communication failure.
Okay.
So it's important to learn.
So our audience are not just listeners, they are always action takers. So what is the action plan you would like to give them so that they can take the action right now after watching the video and they can change their life?
One thing that they must first of all understand why it is important to learn communication. And honestly, if I tell you, if you understand the importance of communication, I think most of us can communicate. Because communication is not like something very difficult or rocket science that you need to really sit and mug up. No. Every day you are communicating with your family, with your friends, with everybody else. But somehow when it comes to communicating with patients, we are very different. We are not the same. We are not cordial. We are not courteous. We are not patient. We are not even interested to communicate. So I think one change that I really hope our healthcare professionals develop, including doctors and other healthcare professionals, that they must be willing to talk. So if that can be done, I think rest is journey. You can all learn. Yes, of course, enroll yourself for programs on communication. Learn what is. There are so many protocols available. Breaking bad news, handing over, sending a referral call. You should know these protocols. They are part of your responsibility. So, I mean, anybody who is watching this program, they must first of all understand why it is important, and then you should explore different ways of learning. I'm sure wherever you are working, there will be some department who would do training on communication. A lot of online programs are available, books are available, so one must update oneself. I think
Actually,
that's
we are
very
doing
important.
like handing over, sending a referral, all these things we are doing on a day-to-day basis in a hospital. But instead of doing it in a random way, if we start doing it in a systematic way, this will improve our healthcare communications. Right now? Okay.
Exactly. There are protocols. There are ways to do it. One can learn and do it. It's not all that difficult, but there has to be a willingness to learn. Don't assume that because I'm a doctor or I am really good at my clinical work, so I'm a good communicator. A lot of studies suggest, I think, more clinically good you are, more likely you are to be quiet and less talking. So that itself can go against you.
Yes, ma'am. So, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for joining us in the video. So, all the social media profiles of Dr. Indu Arneja will be provided in the links. You can contact her. You can also watch her YouTube channel. So, when are you willing to share your story with me? I am always interested to hear your story also. So, again, if you are interested, you can contact me through my social media profiles. Again, I will see you with one another interview with one another best person. Until then, it's Aravind signing off. Bye. Thank you, ma'am.